All right, welcome back to Pick'em. We're going to take a look at the college and professional ranks now. First game on the docket is Lake Erie at Ferris State. Ferris State with another big win last week against Tiffin on the road. 3-1 on the year. Playing great football on both sides of the ball, really starting to fire on all cylinders. Lake Erie 1-3 on the season. This one sets up to really be in the Bulldogs' favor, I think. But we'll take a look at that game. So, Bob, who do you think? It appears that this is going to be in Ferris State's favor. Who do you got in this one?
Oh, Ferris State by a big margin. Lake Erie's still kind of new to Division II. They're still getting that talent, built up from. I think they were like NAIA. They're still getting that Division II talent. And Ferris is just hitting on all cylinders. I like them to win big.
And Brandon, who do you got in this one? I know that Lake Erie has been struggling early on here. Some of your thoughts on the game?
I like Ferris. Ferris has scored 110 points this year. Lake Erie's given up 111, so numbers tell it all.
If for any other reason, if you don't think that a blowout would be entertaining, which I think it will be, the Frisbee toss are going to try to create a world record Frisbee toss also during the game. Make sure to at least come down to Top Taggart Field to check that one out. Next game on the docket, we have Minnesota at Michigan. Minnesota coming off a tough loss to a Division I AA opponent. Michigan coming off a pretty impressive win over San Diego State. Kind of a surprise the way the defense has played so far this year. So, Bob, who do you think has the advantage with seemingly Michigan seeming to have a little bit more momentum than Minnesota right now?
Michigan's on a roll, but we've seen this the last, I think now the 4 years where they've been undefeated. Things appear to be different in Ann Arbor, and I really think we're going to see a Michigan team that's going to come out ready to kind of prove something beginning Saturday.
Okay, and Brandon, looking at the conference season, this is where Michigan has struggled the last few years. I would expect that Minnesota's probably not going to be the typical Big Ten opponent you're going to see, but what does Michigan have to prove in the Big Ten conference?
They've got to prove that they can hang with the big players, and that's Michigan State, Ohio State still, and even Nebraska. So right now, they need to get comfortable with themselves and prove to everybody else that they are just as good as their record says.
I've got Michigan winning this one by a pretty big margin, but we'll see some struggles still from a team that's still growing into its own skin and trying to find an identity. Next up is Michigan State at Ohio State. Huge game for both of these teams, I think. Both of these teams really in need of a big, kind of signature win early in the season. Michigan State has played great defense so far this year, but has not played a lot of top-ranked opponents. They'll be tested against Ohio State on the road, a place they haven't won since 1998.
At the beginning of the year, I said Michigan State was going to get 4 losses. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Nebraska. They all have one thing in common. They're all on the road. I don't think Michigan State is to that point where they can play, as much as State fans would like to think that they're one of those programs that's elite. They're not there. When you win a Big Ten conference every 20 years, you're not quite there. I don't think State can hang with Ohio State. I think Ohio State has more talent than anybody in the Big Ten. And that says something with Wisconsin and Nebraska.
Brandon, this is not your typical Ohio State team, though. They've had 5 of their major contributors have been suspended for the first 5 games of the season. The quarterback play has not been good. Any chance that Michigan State pulls this one out?
On a wing and a hope and a prayer, maybe. It's still a horseshoe, and State would need to come in and just tear it apart.
I actually have Ohio State winning a really close game. I think Michigan State's a better team right now, but being a home game for Ohio State, that's a really tough place to win a football game. Final game we're going to take a look at is everybody's favorite team right now, the Detroit Lions. I don't see any reason anybody here should ever pick against the Lions again. It's just, this should be a 16-0 team from what we've seen so far. But they will play the game anyway. They're on the road against Dallas. This one, to me, has the feel of a letdown written all over it. Dallas has not played well, even though they are 2-1 on the year. But Detroit is really riding high. This is going to be a real test for them. Bob, if you, looking at this matchup, any chance that Detroit suffers that letdown this week?
Oh, absolutely. They're you go over the first half of last week, they didn't really play well, and it's a testament that they came back. But Minnesota, I think, has proven that they're not very good. Kansas City's proven they're not very good. Dallas is pretty good. They can't afford to get down, and I think this is just one of those games where it's a letdown. It happens, and I think this is their first loss of the season. Sorry to say to you.
Brandon, you think who you got in this one? Any particular hunch one way or the other?
It's hard. All the talk's been about Tony Romo's ribs, and I don't think it really matters. You got an offense led by Stafford and Johnson, and he's got the weapons now. The only thing they're lacking is a run game, and it's always been about the run game right now. You need that in order to win in the NFL. But I think Detroit's defense is far superior to what they have been, and I'm going to pick Detroit.
I actually have Dallas winning this one this week. If for no other reason than this is still the Lions. They're going to find a way to lose some games. So we'll spread out 7 or 8 losses throughout the schedule. I'm not sure where they're going to happen. We're just going to throw it at the dartboard. But that pretty much wraps up this week of Pick'em. Make sure to check out www.bigrapidsnews.com or check out the weekend and Monday edition of the Pioneer for results from these games.
Before we leave this week, I would like to personally congratulate both Brandon Fountain and Marty Slachter over here for taking first place in the Michigan Press Association awards that came out. Brandon took first place for columns. He's not only a sports guru, he also knows a little something about things outside of sports. Congratulations to you, Brandon. And Marty took first place in the MPA Sports Writing Award. I know his story was about Ashley Nowlin. It was very well done. She had a knee injury and took the court for her last time as a senior. It was very well written, very good. Congratulations to both of you, and check out the paper. We had other awards in there, and congratulations to everybody.